Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So last time, just to have a recap of what we have discussed, as I have said, hindi unrecorded yung last time natin. No, but in this case, this is ongoing recording na. So in continuation sa ating discussion last time, which is about yung ating sa diyan nakalimot ko. And still module 2, no? And I mean still we are already in midterm, no? And by the way, ang coverage ng ating prelim exam ay yung prelim na module, no, hindi yung sa midterm kasi dalawang module yung nasa midterm, no. That includes na yung ating na-discuss last time. Let me just open it. So ang ating na-discuss last time is yung ito, no, prelim horticulture. So ito yung ating prelim exam. Okay, so ito yung prelim exam natin. So ito lang yung coverage, and we will not although wait lang ha. I don't know kung makapag-print. Nagsabit lang ako kay Ma'am April, but then I'm going to explain to her na Sabado ang ating exam. So but it wouldn't be this Saturday, although Saturday ang schedule ko, or although this week ang ating schedule, di ba, sa examination. So I will just schedule it some other time, maybe after October 1 or whatever. But aside from that is actually i-forward ko na lang din sa inyo ang question kasi yung question sa prelim mo na to siya, no? Mo na to siya ang question. So no need of having it actually face to face or answering it again in another sheet of paper kasi ang uban sa inyo nagsabit na wala ng prelim, 'di ba? So mo na to actually ang prelim exam, the quiz mismo or the prelim activities. So but nagsabit lang po ko ka Ma'am April, no, for compliance. So going back, so ito nga ang ating module 1 muna itong prelim exam. So I will just let's just move on to the next. Recording in wait lang ha, kamalag na wrong. So ito, midterm na tayo. So we have discussed this last time. So the plant anatomy. So I told you I have some videos on this and hindi ko pa na-post, sorry. And we're gonna meet naman on Friday 23, no? So we have discussed these types of woody stem last time. Ito siya. And this, so I guess we stopped from, we also discussed the different types of roots last time, no? And so I guess I've stopped from the buds, no? So we will be discussing the buds. So another part of the stem is yung buds, no? And the buds usually parts of the stem, parts of the plants, I mean, are the buds, no? So buds are it's where, of course, the different shoot that becomes new leaves or foliage comes out, no? And this require number of days, which is below a critical temperature before resuming growth in the spring kung andun ka sa ibang bansa, no? When they have winter, they have dormant stage or winter, or referred to as rest, no? And it varies from different kinds of plants. Then there are, for example, many peach varieties which require 700 to 1,000 hours of 45-degree Fahrenheit temperature. So parang in short, rest day or ano niya yan, tawag doon, dormant, no? So dormant buds can, of course, withstand low temperature. But after rest period is satisfied, they are more susceptible to damage by cold temperature now or frost. So the leaf bud is composed also of short stem with embryonic leaves, or leaf buds, often less plump, more pointed than flower buds. So ganun mo makikita kung anong kaibahan ng leaf buds sa flower buds. So like for example sa manga, no, it's very amazing kasi like kung nagpapa-flower ka ng mango, sometimes pag pa-induce mo sa kanya, instead na maging flower siya, naging foliage siya, 'di ba? So um and malalaman mo yan paglabas, no? Leaf buds are plump and pointed than flower buds. So flower bud naman ay meron siyang short stem with embryonic flower parts, and like in the fruit grass, they are called fruit buds. No? And I hope when we got to choose a mango area, no, kung nakapagpili na kayo, then we can do the flower induction kasi isa yan sa mga activity natin, no? And fertilizer application as well. Now we'll do that in your mango orchard, and you're going to document that by group. So terminology is actually inaccurate, no, to refer to them as fruit buds or flower buds. And though flowers have potential na maging fruits, but there are times na hindi, no? Especially with during adverse weather condition like pollination, like lack of pollination or other unfavorable conditions. So we have here an image of this one, of the terminal buds. Now, the different parts of the bud, we have the terminal buds at the tip, no, of a stem, and we have axillary bud located on the side of the stem, and it usually where a leaf meets a stem or an axil. And axil contains more than one bud. No, adventitious buds arise from the side at the terminal axillary position, and they also may develop from roots or internode and edge of a leaf blade or callus tissue that cut end of a stem or a root. So these adventitious buds will allow stem, leaf, and root cuttings to develop entirely into new plants. Kaya pag magtanim kayo ng cuttings, no, you can cut or you can have 2 to 3 buds in your stem para yun yung tumubo into a new plant or leaves. Yun. And enlarged buds or parts buds, like in this in image J. Muna siya na. Ay, J. Where's J? This one, enlarged bud. From the edible portion naman ito ng horticultural class. We had cabbage. So ito yung mga, and head lettuce are the example of the large terminal buds, no? And succulent axillary buds are the best edible part naman namang Brussels sprouts, yung nasa photo kanina. Itong cabbage, lettuce, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, no? And we have globe artichoke. And sa artichoke naman, the fleshy basal portion of the flower bracts is eaten along with the solid stem. while broccoli is the most important horticultural plant with edible flower buds. And in the stem, the leaves, and the flower buds are also eaten. So kayo, kumakain ba kayo ng broccoli? Kasi this is high valued crops, meaning mahal. Okay. And unfortunately, we cannot grow that in Samal. Although merong highlands ng Samal, but we can try, no? We can test naman growing these crops, no? Why not, diba? So, yun yung mga buds. The next part is the leaves, no? Which is primary purpose niya ay photosynthesis. And they are born on the nodes of the stem and usually consist of a lamina, a blade, and a petal, and may either simple or compound, no? Pag compound, mayroon siyang individual units of leaflets. They can be pinnately or palmately arranged. So makita niyo yung photo mamaya. And they have picture leaf base and stipules subtending the leaf, and which may be leaf-like, modified, bristles, or sheaths, and the axil or angle between each simple compound, the leaf and the stem. And meron siyang axillary bud that will develop into a branch, no? If not, then it becomes, it might be inhibited by the auxin hormone, no? Or pruning or removing terminal buds of the branch or shrub or trees usually is a good way to release hormonal inhibition, no, sa axillary buds located lower in the branches. Thus, it will permit new branches and develop and result into diffuse branching system. So the leaf blade is also composed ng mga several layers on the top and bottom and top cells called the epidermis, and the primary function is to protect the layers of the leaf tissue. And the epidermis cells will determine leaf surface texture. And while some leaves, like the African violet, have hairs which are extension of the epidermal cells, no? Which feel like velvet. And the cuticle in the epidermis has waxy layer called cutin, which will protect the leaf from dehydration and disease. And this cutin leaf increases naman with light intensity. And because of this, moving plants from shade to another full sunlight gradually over a period of few weeks, no? This gradual exposure to sunlight will allow the cutin layer to build up and protect the leaves from the rapid water. So ayan, no, para for during transplanting, for example. And it will also protect from water loss as sun scald. And waxy cuticle also repels water, so hindi siya nakaka-absorb sa loob. And because many pesticides contain spray, that's why binibigyan ng nilalagyan ng mga spray additive para ma-help siya na mag-absorb, penetrate in the cutin layer. So ito yung external part of the leaf. We have the apex, margin, veins, midrib, base, petiole, axillary bud, stipule, stem, and these are all the blade, no? So we have a lot of special epidermal cells called guard cells, which where the stomata close and open in response to environmental stimuli. So bakit ba nag-o-open and nag-close ang stomata? Bakit? Anyone? So, saan ba makikita ang stomata of the leaves? Saan makikita? Mary Grace. Yes, Mary Grace. Yes, Mary Grace. Klase pa ko. Hello? Hello? Klase pa ko. Klase ka?
Petiole.
Okay, so Nag-chat ka, Grace? Sorry man gubo akong speaker sa laptop. Okay. So, screenshots ako ha para okay, so actually, naastay koan, natay stomata closing and opening. It's because it is where it is where our gases, exchange of gases for photosynthesis and respiration. Kaya magkakaroon ng closing and opening of the stomata. Now, the question lies that saan ba makikita? Of course, there are more stomata in the underside of the leaf, no? Sa likod. And then, depende yun, no? Like pechay, mo nang dali ra kay siya malaya because it has thousands of stomata. And also like rambutan, you notice dali ra kayo iyahang ang sorry taga na kanang ito kanang ganing nanay tawag kasi no and I forgot. Basta kanang rambutan niya, dali ra kay mag-brown, diba? Because of its because of transpiration of its kanang iyahang ay nakalimot jud ko, I'm sorry pero mo ang mga stomata magod maka-extend because of that. But then it's still it's still it's still petchay which kanang wither or kanang lost more water than rambutan. Okay. So ayun, no? And this guard cells will also regulate passage ng mga water, oxygen, and carbon dioxide into the leaf, no, through the stomata. And yun nga, they are more in the underside of the water. And like with high temperature and low humidity, it will lose a lot of water. Then stimulate guard cells to close, like but in the mid weather, they remain open. And guard cell will also close in the absence ng light. No? Pag gabi na, usually, mag-close na siya. But not all the case, no? Kasi, sa kanang mga cactus sa disyerto, it is their time na to open their stomata to get more kasi at they close sila because of the very hot weather. So, ayun. But generally, they will close at night. So they are again located in the upper and lower epidermis in the mesophyll as shown in this image. Ito, no? And divided into dense upper layer, palisade mesophyll, and lower spongy mesophyll. So akala mo, meron lang tayong mga 6 to 8 parts of the plants, no? Ang dami. Inside the leaf, you can see a lot of different parts, no? We have in the mesophyll cells, we have chloroplast. So ano itong chloroplast? Ito yung nag reproduce ng green color for photosynthesis. And we also have leaves that persist for several years or growing seasons, so they are called evergreen. While those will fall after growing season are called deciduous. So we have mentioned this already in the first chapters of our lectures. And however, there are so many kinds of plant leaves. We also have conspicuous leaves or foliage and primary location for photosynthesis. We also have scale leaves like the cataphyls found in the rhizome and buds, which enclose and protect them. The seed leaves or the cotyledons are found in the embryonic plants and they store food for developing seedling. The spines and tendrils found in the barberry and peanuts, which also protect and help support them. So ito na yung different parts, the mesophyll, the palisade mesophyll, and then with the wax upper epidermis and the lower epidermis. Andyan yung lower guard cell, stroma, and chloroplast in the wax cuticle. So we also have storage leaves, no? Which are those bulbous plants and succulents which store food, and the bracts, which are brightly colored like the dogwoods and poinsettias. Bracts, they are actually bracts and not petals, no? Kasi these are pseudoflowers. So leaves are very useful for plant identification, of course. We cannot imagine without leaf. There is no photosynthesis, and we can't live without plants. A leaf venation, blade margin shapes and opposite base shape can also be a very important identifying characteristic. The type of leaf is very important. We can classify them as simple or compound. In simple, the leaf blade is single continuous, while in compound naman, they have several separate leaflets arising from the same tissue. And some are doubly compound, which can be confusing. These are deeply lobe simple leaves that may look like a compound leaf, no? So we have types of leaf arrangement. We have opposite leaves or positioned across the stem from each other. That's very simple. Alternate, spiral leaves are arranged alternately. Whorled leaves are arranged in circle. Rosulate leaves are arranged in rosette. No? So the leaf blade is the principal edible part ng mga crops like chives, collards, dandelions, endives, kale, leaf lettuce, mustard, and a lot. No? The edible parts naman ng mga leeks, onions, and so on are fleshy leaf bases. Yun. So ito yung mga different types of venation. No? Let me have another screenshot. So as you can see, yung na-mention ko kanina, no, what are this? Nakita ba ninyo or nagpaano ko, no? Uy, kapulo ko din yung photo. Okay, we have arcuate, cross-venolate, dichotomous, longitudinal, palmate, parallel, pinnate, and reticulate, rotate. O diba, ang dami. So it has a lot of parts. And leaf margin could be entire, serrate, serrate, doubly serrate, dentate, crenate, incise, sinuate, and undulate. O diba, dami. And in terms of shape and arrangement, here we go. Acicular, falcate, orbicular, rhomboid, acuminate, flagellate, ovate, rosette, alternate, hastate, palmate, and so on. There's a lot. No? So opposite, the example, elliptic, reniform, whorled, digitate. So just be familiar with these terms, no? And these are technical terms. So for your activity, finally, you are going to draw plant cell, label the parts, and provide the function of each part. And why some plants possess specialized or underground stems while others have above ground stem. And what is known as plant food and why. How studying vegetative plant parts contributes to classroom horticulture class. So, ito na yung mga part ng prelim ninyo. Although meron tayong schedule for prelim exam, and deadlines for that will be on September 30 for prelim. But actually, I'm still be accepting until the end of December. No? So, ito na yon, no? You don't need to submit another. If you have submit this one already, you don't have to submit another prelim. So, ito na yon. And so we are done with the leaves, roots, stems. Now we are in lesson 2, plant anatomy of flowers, fruits, and seeds. But yeah, we still have much time naman. No, but let me just give you a short video before we proceed here, kasi medyo mataas-taas din ito. No? And before we go, photosynthesis and cellular respiration as well. Actually, hahanapin ko pa siya. No? Because I forgot. I don't know kung na-save na ako dari sa ano. Nato sa. So, stop ko muna yung sharing, ha? Stop share. So, do you have any questions or clarification dito pala? Before we proceed? Ay, na-save na to na ako. Skip. Okay, so, ayun. Okay, ito na ako pangitaon. Wait lang ha, pangitaon sa ako mga dear. So, wala na yung mga pangutana diha or question or clarification. Wala yung pangutana dira. No more questions or clarification. Tayo sa kadela. Marag wala dyan ako na lang siya ano. Less than 10 minutes na lang ba yata?
Kanang saan na ba ang next face-to-face class na to, ma'am?
Face-to-face. Excited na ka? Mag-schedule pa ko, supposedly October 1. But, meron kaming lakad. So, well, definitely gonna, ang inyong, by the way, highway. Nagsabot tayo ni Sir JP. Dahil lang ha, kay gina-US, hindi pa na ako. So, nagsabot mi ni Sir JP na, mag-join sa acquaintance because we never did for the past years. Past year pa naman, no? So, basig mo na lang natong face-to-face, no? Party-party lang. 21, 22, 6. So, nga naman, why do you ask? Do you have any concern?
Excuse me, ma'am. Pwede mangutana.
Oo naman.
Ma'am, pag dili mo appeal og acquaintance party po, absent na, ma'am.
No, it's just a social, gathering. And it's not part of our, subject. Pero sa inyong organization, you might be, wala tayo animalis. Sa org ninyo, basig, wala man noon may fines, no? Sa org.
Wala man, ma'am.
Walang fines. So, it's alright.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Kaysa na madugay na ng kuaning pinangita. Actually, naang to sa ano. Okay, so here we go na talaga, promise. Wala na ibang questions or clarification, Dara?
Regarding Dr. na
Ito?
regarding sa kato ping na to nga sa school ma'am.
Ano
Kano to
yan?
pwede mag-start? Kano sa to pwede mag-start no
Ang alin?
regarding sa ping?
You mean gardening or unsa?
Sa landscaping ma'am.
Landscaping? It already started, no? Nag ano na ako sa inyo haog. Okay, before we continue, to just to answer your question, nag-start na tano and nag-assign na tag area. So let me just play the video kasi 5 minutes pa lang pa. Ha? Okay.
Wala po na butang nag-kono. Wala matayo dito.
Stay focused. So here's the basics, okay? So you have the flowers of the plant, the stem. You have the leaves, you guys know this. You have fruits, and then you have the roots, which are not coming up. There they are. Okay. And so let's talk about the roots first. So the function of roots is really two things. It's going to absorb water and minerals, and it helps anchor the plant into the ground, as you can see in the picture on the right. And so there's kind of two different kinds of root systems. So root systems, this is a fibrous root system. There's no main root, think like a carrot when you think like a main root. They're made for fast water absorption, and they help hold the soil, and they prevent erosion. These are found in monocots and seedless vascular plants, okay? So like things like ferns. And then the other type of root system, it's the taproot system. It has one main root, like a carrot, and then it has smaller lateral secondary roots, okay? And they have more stronger anchorage, and they help absorb deep water. This is found in gymnosperms and dicots, okay? And now plants can modify their roots. They can have things like prop roots that helps hold them up and support. This is actually from a corn plant. They can use their supports for climbing, or their roots for climbing and support up something. They can have roots that are aquatic and help absorb water. That's from a lily. And they can modify their roots for storage and food storage, like a potato, or that's a beet. So that's kind of an example of those. Now let's look at their stems, okay? So in a herbaceous plant stem, you can have a herbaceous plant stem that's all green, or you can have a woody stem that's got a wood in it. And that's the terminal bud at the top, okay? And then it has the axillary buds on the side. The terminal buds are where it's going to grow from. Then it has what's called lenticels, which are those little bumpy things on the wood. It has a leaf scar where the leaf might have fallen off. And then it has a terminal bud scar where last year's growth occurred. Okay, so from what you can see is from one terminal growth to the next terminal growth scar is where 1 year's growth occurred. Okay. Plants can also modify their stems, just like they modify their roots, into thorns for protection. Think like cactus, okay? They can modify them into tubers for storage. This is actually a white potato. They can modify them into stolons. That actually is a type of asexual reproduction. This is a strawberry plant that's budding off. They can modify them into things like what's called corn, which is a storage. An onion is a modified stem. They can modify them into tendrils that are used for climbing and support, this is a vine, okay? So let's look at their leaves now. So you can see all the different parts of the leaves, and you're going to be labeling those in one of your lab activities. Obviously, if it has parallel leaves, it is a monocot, and if it has netted leaves, it is a dicot. So you can look at those pictures. Dicots can have simple leaves, that's one leaf, or they can have what's called a compound leaf. And that entire thing from where it says, see the petiole and all those little leaflets, that's actually one leaf. Where there's like 6 or 7 leaves on one, it's actually 6 or 7 leaflets on one leaf, okay? And then the monocot, you can see all the different parts of the monocot and the dicot, and that's in your picture. So you can look at the monocot versus dicot and all their features. So you can see things like a monocot has the fibrous root system, and the dicot has the taproot system. And a monocot has parallel veins, and a dicot has netted veins. And a monocot, you guys know most of this, it has flowers in parts in 3s and 4s, and a dicot has flowers in parts of 4s and 5s. this is something new. Monocot has vascular bundles that are scattered. Those are the little parts that are these little things. These are the vascular bundles, okay? So that's where the xylem and phloem is. Whereas vascular bundles are in more of a ring structure. As you can see, these little, this going around the ring, this is each the vascular bundles in a dicot, okay? Plant, now we're going to look at some of the anatomy. We're going to start to get inside a little bit more. So in plant tissues, they have different types of tissues, just like you have different types of tissues, muscles and epithelial and all that kind of stuff. The first kind of tissue for a plant is they have what's called ground tissue. And they have, and ground tissue can be made out of parenchyma cells, which are thin-walled, used for storage and photosynthesis, and they can also secrete things. Those are what you call the typical plant cells. Another type of ground tissue is collinchamma, and collinchamma have thick, flexible walls used for support, and they're usually found in young shoots, okay? So young shoots, young stems. Sclerenchyma are the last one. They also have thick walls, and they're used for support, and they're found where no growth is, so it's kind of like what's left behind, what's kind of no longer there. You can also, plants also have dermal tissues. They have ground tissue, they have dermal tissue.